Welcome to the two.
Sandals and shorts, and surf, and scuba, and sand, and sailing, and soccer. San Diego, California. Sandals and shorts, and surf, and
Season's greetings and welcome to Tuba Halls NMI 241. We are back here on a Monday after an eventful San Diego Wave weekend of football. My name is Tony Sanchez, along with Alejandro Chiva Villaseñor, Abe Cepeda, who, look at that, probably got a jump scare out of the fact that he was immediately thrown on there. 1,000 apologies. Thank God the big comfy couch is there to save you. Behind you, we're going to go ahead and talk San Diego Wave and Alex Morgan retiring, announced last week. Press conference prior announcement, the actual game 4-1 San Diego Wave loses in a absolutely chaotic fashion at Snapdragon Stadium. We're also going to go ahead and actually talk about San Diego's venue, multi-purpose venue, with the groundskeeping crew that is in charge of keeping that tip-top Magoo shape and what it takes to now have to prepare for a third team coming in next season. And in this hot weather, people are very interested with that. We're also going to go ahead and touch on a call of the siren. An emotional week overall. A lot of people pouring in, but no one feeling it more than the Sirens, who lose the talisman over in San Diego Wave. Some SDFC updates are going to be happening. And we have the president of the newly minted Supporters Union. We'll let the names TBD, or do they have a name? We'll discuss that here in a bit. And also end it with goals, gaffes, and great jam-packed show today. Abe, what's up?
What's up? It's weird to be opening with you guys. Kind of uncomfortable.
Get used to it, buddy.
I mean,
No te creas.
I do want to apologize for that, but you know what? We have a lot to get to, and it kind of happened like that, where everything this last week was like, what are you doing tomorrow? You need to be there like yesterday already, because everything moved relatively quickly. It was announced relatively early in the week that Alex Morgan, dropping a video via her social media, that she would indeed be retiring from soccer, effective pretty much almost immediately. But Abe, as we have you here, the editor-in-chief of San Diego Football, just announcing her retirement from professional soccer, and Chiva, like, this surprised a lot of people. It seems like it surprised her in a lot of fantastic ways. So first of all, congratulations to one of the greatest soccer players that the USA has ever produced, and athletes on a global market. So where did this leave you, Gal?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think people could kind of know that this may have been her last season, right? I mean, she wasn't performing to the best that we know she can. I mean, it's been a rough year for her, but nobody expected that her last game would be this Sunday, as she announced. She is pregnant, which congratulations, but I'm assuming it also changed kind of like the trajectory of that retirement and forcing it to be a little sooner than she expected.
And she was very open about that in the post, in the presser that was happening there on Thursday at Snapdragon. Abe, news came down. How did you take this in? And I mean,
Yeah, I was in complete shock. I heard rumblings from just fans knew something was up because of her contract announcement. I think when you had that free agency looming. There's a lot of players that are getting extensions and weird things are happening, and then she doesn't sign an extension, so it just assumes that she's going to leave at the end of the season. And then now to just fully retire was just completely shocking. And congratulations to her, but it's the game. San Diego is losing a legend. It's pretty wild.
I
So-
mean, football,
yeah.
soccer in general is losing a legend. I mean, it's
Yeah.
always bad, right? But it's also a happy ending, if you say, right? I mean, it's literally the greatest soccer player, arguably on the women's game ever. That's point blank, period, ever. I mean, she's ending her career in a sweet spot. I mean, you know, she did what she could with San Diego Wave towards the end of her career. I mean, she won a Golden Boot. She won the Shield. She won the Challenge Cup with San Diego Wave. So, I mean, I would say she was successful here in San Diego.
And that was part of the line of questioning, right? So this was announced after the announcement on social media is that there would be a press conference with her that following day on that Thursday. And
I think it was Friday.
It was Friday. Yes, correct.
Thursday she announced in the morning, and then Friday was the press conference.
I'm 1 day ahead of myself. This 116 is what my vehicle said the other day. On my way to Snapdragon for that game over in Lakeside.
It was definitely
So this was eventually just let out, and I'd love to hear people and what they actually did to celebrate Alex, or just like a memory, because I know a lot of people were stricken by this, and in a lot of ways, players themselves that are teammates of Alex Morgan. It's one of those announcements where it just kind of stopped everything. Alex Morgan as actually, I think, the first U.S. women's national team player, but one of the first players I was just like, wow, like that's a different gear in the game that I've seen skill wise. I remember watching that fue 2000 un mundial, creo que fue 2011, 2011, yeah. And yeah, just household name, and just from very early you can tell that this is a new generation, and that's like the new generation of the new generation from the original baseline of what was the U.S. women's national team baseline greats. And now, you know, she's moving on to a different stage in her life. But this was a question that our very own Tony Sanchez asked Alex Morgan during that press conference in terms of her legacy.
Hello, Alexa. Congratulations on a magnificent career.
Yes. Tony Sanchez decides to unmute the site.
Hello, Alexa. Congratulations on a magnificent career. Looking back, what do you think your legacy will be for U.S. soccer, for global football, and here in San Diego moving forward?
I hope my legacy is that I pushed the game forward, that I helped gain respect for the women's game, that I increase the value and the investment in the women's game, that I helped players and myself not only be respected in the game, but have better resources, be protected, have player safety be at the forefront, have women's soccer players do just that, play soccer, not have to fight for so many other things that we've had to continually fight for. And I've had to even before I stepped on the field with the national team or with my club teams, various club teams. Here in San Diego, I just want to represent this city so proudly, and I believe I've done that for the last 2.5 years. To be honest, I was not expecting to finish my career mid-season. This came unexpected, and at the beginning of 2024, I wanted to end this season, going to playoffs, winning a championship. You have big hopes for your last year, and I still have such high hopes for this team, but unfortunately, plans don't always go the way that you draft them up. And I think that for me, it's just being a forever supporter of this team, this organization, and just being forever embedded into this community here.
I think everything that she says there in terms of what she's done for the community and for the game is true to every degree. Her impact is I think Landon said that there's measurable ways and immeasurable ways to really look at that data. But it was interesting, again, just being at that front row of a retirement like this. I was kind of thinking, like, where does this land in terms of, like, first of all, soccer retirements in the US, but like overall, just retirements in general. It's such a weird concept that the American version of sports has, where like the greats always get like there's something with it. Like, hey, I'm retiring this year, retirement tour. Or hey, this person's leaving. Hey, everybody gives them a present at their stadium because they did so much for the sport and whatnot, right? I think this is how it felt like, being so close to it, but taking that step back, it's even exponentially bigger than that. Just so many people across the world just really reflecting on this. So I mean, it's a huge thing. San Diego loses a star in a lot of ways. It's just the city of San Diego. That's the star power that will no longer be there on the field active.
Yeah, she'll still be around San Diego. I have no question about that. Just on the field, stars. I would argue she's the biggest, like bigger than anyone on the Padres, genuinely. Like people around the world know Alex Morgan's name and have felt her impact as far as bringing investment in women's sports. It's crazy.
Absolutely. We will be talking a lot of Snapdragon and just the surrounding things. I know Playback send me a picture of us not doing the wave in the press box. Kind of let them know, I don't know if it's admissible to perform such an act inside the press box, so I won't risk it. But there is a picture out there of us just enjoying and being melted, slow roasted there.
Yeah, and if we raised our arms, you would see some insane pit stains if we did do the wave.
So I mean, we get to Snapdragon, right? I mean, Sunday comes around and it's gonna be Alex Morgan's last game. We knew it was gonna be crazy. Tickets went through the roof. I think they sold over 6,000 in 3 hours.
It ended up being like 12,000 and a little bit over a day.
Yeah, so they sold in to the point where they even asked media that usually go, please RSVP if you're coming to this game.
Yeah,
because they're expecting a lot of people to be there. So we RSVP, we always go, and it just so happens that her last game is on one of the worst heat waves San Diego has had in so many years, right?
In a while, yeah.
In a long time. We get to the game, we get the starting lineup. Tony, you predicted something before this game, and you said, oh, watch it just be a 13-minute send-off. She gets substitute, she plays 13 minutes. What made you just think that was going to happen?
Because American sports. Because there's always a gimmick. There's always something with it. And I'm not opposed to gimmicks in any way at all. I'm not a spoil sport that way. I actually like that. Like, I thought it was cool the way that she eventually walked off. Originally planned on the 13th minute, but because of her assist and goal, ended up being the 16th minute. But I like that pageantry. Like, it's one of these things where she deserves it. And I was like, okay, first of all, Landon, in post-match, could you take us through your thought process tactically of starting Alex Morgan? She hasn't been producing this season. Maybe the perfect time to maybe have her on the bench and have her. Kidding. But there's just all those different scenarios, and we'll get to it a little bit. Just a little other of my predictions that were unfortunately true.
And it made sense for her to be subbed off at the 13. I mean, she's pregnant. Like, it's just in 100-degree weather.
Medically, and like, again, I don't know why I'm thinking of it this way, but just like HR wise, there is like things that have to happen, right? Like, is it a HIPAA violation to even as an employer acknowledge the type of medical leave that she's having? Like, it's just a weird gray area.
It's not because
that nobody's interested in. But all right, she does make the starting lineup, Abe. But this is a strong starting lineup. We have Sheridan, Germa, Van Egmond, Wesley, Morgan, McNabb, Doniak, Westfall, Barcenas, Cascarino, and Sanchez.
You think this is a strong lineup?
From what San Diego Wave has to offer in this current moment, yes.
I disagree, just because, I mean,
you
have one midfielder. Doniak is not a center midfielder. You know, Calaprico's barely coming back as she's not fully match fit. But once she's fit, she has to start along with Emily Van Egmond. I mean, you need two center midfields at least. Doniak can't play center midfield the rest of the season. I mean, she can, but that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, I think too much is being put on Mackenzie Doniak right now. She shouldn't have to carry the load of the midfield.
Yeah, at all. And again, you need to get somebody there, but that has to do with fitness as well. And
so I disagree with you. Like this isn't a strong lineup. It's weak in the midfield, which I mean, clearly the result shows on this.
In the terms that I say it's a healthy lineup, it's because it's a healthy lineup. It's a strong lineup of what's available, right? And then I mean, again, I'm not
No, I get what you're saying.
That's where I'll stand there. But hot day in general, humidity at the roof for San Diego in terms of having the best weather in the world. Today was one of those days where obviously precautions were taken. Good turnout, ended up 25 plus, I believe, 26 plus. Yeah. In a day that's competing with the first week of NFL viewership. The San Diego Padres are playing. There was a lot of competing aspects, but still Snapdragon looked good for the kickoff. Abe,
don't forget to mention that they moved this into like a nationally broadcasted match. This wasn't going to be like nationally broadcast, and then ESPN Plus at CBS Sports, KUSI was like showing this. Like everyone started showing this game.
Yeah, so the game itself, well, I mean, let's talk about it.
This is also a very important game. Before the results or anything, Wave need to pull off victories already, and the few games that you have left at home, you have to take advantage of those. Obviously, North Carolina is a tough team to play against, but Wave got stunned pretty early on.
Set pieces. These are very well rehearsed by North Carolina. There was a sharpness to North Carolina as they came in that definitely showed an intent to execute the game plan, and they did so very well. This could have gotten even more out of hand here very early on. Single-digit time frame, good header that Kalen kind of jumps sideways, not upwards, but ultimately goes in 1-0. And this is kind of like, this might be a game that just kind of everything gets flattened. The energy before and pre-match, the pyrotechnics, the Alex Morgan walking on, warming up for one last time. Like the air was just taken out of Mission Valley completely.
Yeah.
But
Alex Morgan gets a couple chances too, and fast forward a little bit into the 8th minute, the referee decides to call a penalty on a handball.
Yep, it took some VAR action in order for that to happen. Ultimately, it does get decided that this is going to be a penalty. And all right, before this, I told everybody, it'll be crazy. In the time that she plays, these 13 minutes, there's a penalty situation in which Alex Morgan actually takes it. I'm an agent of chaos. What would happen if she misses? Like, damn, that would suck. I had the bifocals on, and I was to myself, just kind of like, she missed. Like you felt it. Abe,
I think when most people in that stadium just felt the soccer gods saying, "Here's your chance. This is the time. This is the moment." And I guess you'd think the soccer gods are evil. Like sometimes they are. At Snapdragon, they generally have been. I mean,
San Diego.
That injury to Megan Rapinoe. They're fair, I guess, but
fair in a way where Alex Morgan, that penalty defined this season.
It's true.
Scoreless. It's not 2022, right, Abe?
Yeah, I said that. I wrote that on San Diego.football.
If you want to read a good, great, love it, a spicy article, Abe Cepeda on San Diego.football, he signed his name on it. I love it. Cepeda. San Diego waves goodbye to Alex Morgan. It's a really good article where you did, you were very honest about what you saw at Snapdragon. But it's important to just kind of, again, realize what a moment this would have been.
It's one of those where you have to crack up. At first, before any retirement announcement, if this just continues and she cracks up after a missed penalty, it's infuriating.
It's funny.
It's funny, but take out it's my retirement, it's my last game, all this. Just a game. You just need this game like nothing else. She keeps playing. She's gonna play the rest of the season. You're pissed if you see her laughing that she missed that penalty.
I don't
think so.
No, not a person thinks that. Not there's not other than you.
Because even Rapinoe laughed when she missed in the World Cup. Like,
Yeah.
you have to have a sense of just dark.
Good at that.
You have to have a sense of dark humor and just realize, like, they've won World Cups, they've won Olympic medals, championships. Maybe this is just karma saying, okay, you know what, you've won a lot. We'll take some for us.
This is just the form that she's been in, unfortunately. Like this season, she hasn't scored in the league. So I mean, unfortunate penalty. But Tony, you called this chaos, and the stadium went silent.
Yeah, no. If there was not a single gust of wind in Snapdragon, it's a vacuum. It got just sealed up and sous vide because everybody's in there collectively sweating their whatever's off. But agent of chaos, it happens, and that's it. No way that she is getting her goal in, and that's it. It's the happy story is going to end. 12th minute, they still are pressing, and eventually, guess what? Chaka chaka, you get a goal for San Diego Wave, assisted by Alex Morgan in the 13th minute.
Yeah, no, it's like,
Hey, mano.
I don't know. It's like it's meant to be. Like, you don't get the goal, but you get an assist in the 13th minute. Like, it's
a contribution. It's a goal contribution where you kind of made up for it. Like, at the end of the day, guess what? None of us, not the six of us here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us in each of our little boxes here, will ever know the courage, strength, and pain that it takes to literally birth a human being or have one grow within us. To ask me right now in this state to go play 15 minutes of professional soccer right now is pushing it health-wise, to be completely honest. But that's the maximum output that she was able to do, and it led to a goal in a season that she hasn't had a lot of victories in terms of goal, assists, contribution. Like, it just hasn't been there. Her last, if not like one of the last touches of actions that she saw, was this the last, Abe?
I will say it wasn't an assist. She kicked the ball to get the corner kick, to earn the corner kick. Maria Sanchez sent in the.
It's an assist.
No,
if a penalty,
Maria Sanchez got the assist.
Foul. Maria Sanchez told me after.
Wait,
I'm not gonna make stuff up now.
Wait, you're right. That's what I was thinking. Why did she get the assist?
She didn't get the assist. People say
didn't.
she assisted in the.
He
goal.
assisted in the goal scoring chance.
Got it. I thought I saw a picture and I think it was just fake, and I got fooled. But okay. I mean, it's still nicely.
It was Maria Sanchez.
Yeah, still just amazing moment. Everyone's wearing the pink headbands. Just insane, beautiful sports moment right here. And then to have her subbed off right after, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of just moments happened here.
Technically, it was a handball. Should have been another penalty and second chance to go at it again.
That would have been funny. Like, what's the decision? What's the decision there?
Minute?
What does Landon do? Like, go for it again? I guess.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Go for it.
You have to.
But all smiles at that moment up until obviously the rest of the game happened, and we could just put that away.
No, I mean, obviously, NC Courage goes up in another set piece, and I mean, it's unfortunately that's been an issue for San Diego Wave since they've started.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about it with Casey Stoney, and we talked about it with Paul Bucco, and I mean, it's just been an issue. Kaylin Sheridan definitely has the mistake here. I don't know if you agree, Tony, as a goalkeeper. Esteban, you're a goalkeeper. The mistake here had to be from Kaylin Sheridan, who didn't have the best game.
Yeah, no, this is her coming out.
Con ganas,
No, yeah, she has to be coming out here, and you have to run over whoever's in front of you, right? If it's your teammate, if it's the opponent, if it's whoever it is in your small box area, if they touch you, it's a foul. if they get in there and collide, and there's supposed to be a foul, but you're the one supposed to get to that ball first. Out of everybody in there, you're the one person that can use your hands. And I'm not saying come out in a violent way. There's ways to be safe about it, with your knee up, with your legs up, to protect yourself. But at the end of the day, it's a physical game. It's a contact sport. You come into that small box, you're going to get contacted. It seemed like it just wasn't there on time, and just enough of a header in between her and Germa. And, that's where everything just began to unravel. But again, NC Courage still had that game plan. Like, they weren't fazed by the fact that Alex Morgan was retiring, was playing. They just picked it right back up, and it seemed like Wave had some glimmers of hope here and there, but it's the same old thing that we've seen this entire season. A lackluster offense that can't produce, with a midfield that is just silly taped together with what they have in terms of just fit players. I was very optimistic last week. I was very optimistic last week about the chances of San Diego
Where's that
Wave
Tony at now?
making. He's right here, actually. But guess what? I don't think I'm as optimistic. Hey, wrong way. As I could. They choose to remain in this real world now. The heat has brought me down. As the game went on, Kalen Sheridan was in some interventions. There was a couple of posts that were hit. But man, like, I really was hoping that this would spark something underneath San Diego Wave, at least in this game. But clearly, there's a bigger issue in there.
I mean, 3 coaches in one season is just tough for any team.
It's tough.
You see any team in any other league, and if you have 3 coaches, you're not going to have a very successful year.
Yeah, and this is the second captain that's leaving in a matter of a month. Like, that's a big deal too, I think. Especially emotional leader that everyone looks up to around the game. Like, I think Landon Donovan said this was a very emotional week for all the players, and you could definitely see that on the pitch.
Getting that mental aspect in there. Obviously, a lot of miles traveled in a short span of a couple weeks. They have had a homestay. Juegos en casa, where they can go ahead and train and get things together. But then ultimately, this also led to a chance later that brought about another unfortunate prediction that I'm like, okay, Kalen Sheridan gets the captain's armband after. Wouldn't it be something if there was a captain having to give a second captain change in the same game due to, I don't know, a red card? Kalen Sheridan kicks the absolute days out of.
Yeah, and it was crazy because after I saw this, I was like, wait, dude, like, would this be a red card for Sheridan? Like, she legit just knocked down that player. Like, I mean, again, not the best game from her. I think she should have communicated better with Naomi Girma. But I think I told you, it was like, dude, they might check this. Like, this isn't okay. They do check it through VAR, and it is a red card for Kalen Sheridan. And I mean, dude, like, Tony, he's kept jinxing.
It's unfortunate. I know. I didn't feel good about it, but ultimately, it's just things just kept getting from bad to worse to even worse. But it's how San Diego Wave season has gone so far, and I don't know if there's saving grace up until now. But people are still supporting the team. People are here, and that's good to see that the fan base is still there in a positive way for the players, because they know that the players themselves have been going through a lot these last couple weeks. So that's good to see. Abe, we're going to put you and San Diego Wave here on pause for a second because coming up here, we're going to go ahead and have an interesting segment, because a lot of, what we saw here in this replay package was Snapdragon Stadium being featured, the home of San Diego Wave, the future home of San Diego FC, but also the current home and the home of San Diego State football. This is San Diego State's venue after all. So with that, we want to go ahead and have a conversation with the director of turf and grounds in San Diego there at the stadium, who can give some insight as to what it takes to actually maintain this playing surface. Last week, I went down there to the pitch side because people were looking at the first match after San Diego State game, a quick turnover into a wave match. And the paint is one thing, the corners are just looking a certain way, but the actual playing surface, and I think we discussed this, it looked good. Like you can still see that it's a flat surface, it's safe. I think that was my concern, but I just want to get a little bit more insight on what this is actually like to work this field, make sure that it looks pristine and that it lasts. So with that, we're going to go ahead and welcome Mike Kearns to the program. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Good.
Pretty good. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, no, thank you for joining us. And I mean, first of all, like, you guys keeping hydrated out there? Because it's absolutely insane what's happening in Mission Valley.
We're pretty good. We're hanging in there. Looks like we'll get a nice break, a little reprieve here, and actually be the San Diego weather that I signed up for here coming up at the end of the week here. So it'll be nice.
No, absolutely. It's one thing to, we pay rent for a reason, and I think we should get some dollars back. Our electric bill should be coming down a little bit. Wishful thinking, but all right. Could you just take us a little bit into a 101 talk, or just as far as what type of pitch and literally like nitty gritty, the grass that is used? Is it specific for a multi-purpose setting? Is this specifically the best type of turf for San Diego? Or how does that get selected for the maintenance portion of it as well?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, the grass itself, yes. It's the same grass that's in Petco. It's the same grass that we've had since the inception of the building. It's the same grass that, we'll always have at this point. I mean, we have two other fields that we constantly grow out in Escondido at the base of the Safari Park. I mean, it's the most versatile Bermuda grass that we can produce here in San Diego, and it's the one that's going to keep the players the safest, and that goes from rugby to football to soccer as well.
And so with that, what does your team have to do before, after these events? Obviously, the paint is involved, the resodding, just the maintenance portion of it is incredibly important. So what actually goes into making sure that this is a premier surface?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing I don't think people, they think that after a football game, we just go home and we call it a day. I mean, take Saturday, for example. That game ended around 10:30, I think it was. This crew kept going until 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. We brought another crew in at 6 a.m. to get us back to where it is. It's it starts when we get the schedules, right? We see the schedules. I see them when everybody else sees them. And you start planning from that point. When the NWSL releases their schedule in January, February, we go through and we look at it. We see where it might be, where we might have some pinch points, I guess you could say. And we start our planning process there. Where it's not something we don't plan, 2 days in advance is what are we going to do? Absolutely not. I mean, we can't do that, not in this business, and not at the facility that we're in, right? This is an entertainment venue. It's a stadium. It's, natural grass. It's the only natural grass in, for football states in the Mountain West Conference. So we're proud of that. We're proud of all the work that we put in on a regular basis. It takes a lot of planning for what we do. And like I said, it starts in January when the schedules come out. I see it just like I get to see it when everybody else sees it. I know the people, it's hard to believe, but we run the venue for these teams, and that's what happens, right? They make their schedule, their leagues make the schedule, and then it's spit out to us, and we go from there.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just curious, right? What is just the best way to manage multiple sports in one venue? I mean, you have, like you said, rugby, football, you have soccer, and now you're going to have SDFC coming next season as well. So, I mean, what is that like?
Next year it's kind of crazy, right? We're going to add somewhere around 21, I think it is right now, soccer games to the facility. It's probably a little more. I'm a little more welcoming at this point to it. I mean, we're not converting from sport to sport, right? For the most part, in the majority of our season, when we're starting, to talk, in the next year when the MLS schedule, whenever that comes out, and like I said, I'll know when you guys know. We'll start the planning process, but it takes a lot of planning, more or less, to make sure I'm putting my crew in a successful part, and I'm putting the building in a successful way to succeed in managing it. And managing the turf is managing turf, right? It's each sport has their own, I guess, nuance to maintaining it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it all comes down to the metrics that we have to meet, right? That we internally accept for ourselves, and that comes from the firmness of the surface. That comes from making sure that we're under certain numbers. We follow the guidelines for the NFL for concussions, right? That's what we strive for. We also take testing for shear, and what does shear do? Shear is make sure that when a player puts their cleat in, that it doesn't blow out on them, it doesn't do anything like that, that it's a safe playing surface. First and foremost, and that's always what we're going to have out there. Like you said, aesthetics. Look, I want it to look great 24/7, 365. I'm my own worst critic, right? I live it, I breathe it, I look at it every day. So, but first and foremost will always be that the playing surface is safe for the players, and that's what we strive for. The aesthetics will come, at times, and sometimes it won't. But it's that's the nature of the business that we're in, truthfully.
No, I definitely love that. I know I don't want to take too much of your time, but this is incredible insight that people have been asking, and I'd love to kind of reconnect us to as the year goes, just to get an update on all of this. Because again, this is something that's going to be a premium quality venue in a sense, right? Because I mean, I've been there for a Coldplay concert, and that's my question. What does that mean for you and your job to have to cover, that surface? Does that affect it? Because again, I'll be the first one to hate on anybody who's in center field at Petco Park when the Potters are doing great, and then they come back from an away stint, and it's like, something's happening in the center field. I just still see the Rolling Stones stage on there. Is that like just the bane of an existence, or is this built to last for that reason as well?
No, this is built to last, right? This is built, the stadium's infrastructure is built to last. The commitment from, OVG, who I work for, the commitment from SDSU, and the commitment from all the partners that are inside, the Wave, the MLS team as well. The commitment to make sure that we have everything that we need to be successful. And it takes every one of those tenants to make sure that this place is as successful as it is. But when it comes to concerts, no, not really. I mean, we've been fortunate, right? There's two ways to look at it. You can do a multi-set, which is you just know we potentially get a new playing surface depending on stage setup and how long it's down. Or the other times it's a one-off show and it's pretty quick. I mean, it's going to be no different at times than you see across Major League Baseball and things like that. We just have better weather, most of the time for it. So it makes it a little bit easier versus worrying about, I'm from the East Coast, so worrying about thunderstorms and things like that. When you have a concert set, we don't have to worry about that too much.
So I imagine this will be kind of the last question here. That game with the U.S. women's national team, that it rained incredibly. Is that just the setting underneath where it's just there's not enough drainage? We weren't expecting so much water because, I mean, I saw from our reports there was only like 4 of those squeegee brooms in San Diego in Snapdragon because, I mean, it is San Diego. But is that kind of how that breaks down?
No, you know what that is, truthfully. I mean, that's just that's rainy weather. I don't think many people notice that, we were 14 days delayed in laying that surface. And, when these companies like CONCACAF or these larger groups come into what they're doing, we have a protocol that we have to follow from them most of the time. They have a guidance as well. So, first and foremost, make sure the playing surface is safe for the players, and go from there. Really, you try and cram everything into a small timeline. We were delayed, 24 or 14 days ish, with 10 days right before the first game. So you try and get, you lose a lot of agronomy side of it, of what you're supposed to do. And that's kind of, you got a little bit of, fly by the seat of your pants, I guess, in those instances, whether we're not used to that much rain here in San Diego. And I've been here for 2 years and I've had 2 different winters and I'm ready for a normal one, I guess. Right. But no, the playing surface at the end of the day, I mean, look, that's what we're here for. And those things happen. We're not the first one. We're not going to be the last one that it happens across the board. It's trying to cram a lot of things in sometimes. And, player safety goes first and you push agronomy aside a little bit for it.
Yeah, that was a major factor because the playing surface, as you said, it was delayed for 2 weeks because of the amount of rain prior. It's just not safe work conditions, and you just get OSHA involved. And it's a lot of paperwork.
Not really. We just couldn't get it out of the farm.
Oh.
The farm was as wet as we were out in Escondido, so we couldn't harvest it. Trust me, we were ready to go. We just sat and waited, and we just waited and waited and waited. But ultimately, it ends up being a great playing surface, and like I said, it's safe. I guess the last thing that I can say is we're putting in the work. We see the chatter, we see it. We're putting in the work. Trust me. We're putting it in, and my crew will have a nice weekend off here for a little bit of break, a well-deserved break for sure.
See, this is why we need you to come back and just this nitty gritty, because this is my version. Comes like, is there just fields of beautiful grass growing in Escondido that's just like perfectly just leveled, like a level that would just put somebody in a awkward, like they've never been in such a zero surface of like, wow, that's great.
Yep, I was there Sunday morning to check on the playing surface. So like we have 2 of them out there, probably a third one coming. That is just, they grow it for us, and when it's time to bring it into Snapdragon, it's time to bring it in, and we always do. We're always making sure that we have. I oversee that as well, making sure that the growing process is what it's going to be when we get it to here. We're doing the same testing out there that we do here to make sure that playing surface is safe when it arrives here in Snapdragon.
And that's just like wheels, I imagine. Like whenever it needs that turn, it just needs that turn, or you have one per year, like a F1 race. You got 4 wheels, and that's it.
No, I mean it's all planning, right? Like if it's concert set or what we're doing, we know what we're doing. When we will need it. We need a new one every January, right? We're not saving that one for Monster Jam Motocross. That one's it's not being saved. So we have one every January that we know, and then we have 2 other reserved ones that if we need something, we need it. And I would probably say a little bit that you'll probably see a little bit different corners next time you're in the building.
I love that. I love that. And incredible insight. I really appreciate your time, Mike. If you want to just give a shout out to your business and everything that goes into the hard work of your team.
Yeah, I mean, I can't do it without them, right? I can't do it, truthfully, I mean, it's crazy to say, but I can't do it without, the Wave front office. I can't do it without my front office, and I for sure can't do it without San Diego State as a whole. I mean, we all wouldn't be here without San Diego State, first and foremost. I mean, talking about us, adding an MLS club, and I've had many conversations with them as well, and they're great people, and we're excited about 25 for sure. It's a building block. Legion as well. It's so great to have people inside this building that just enjoy being inside the building. It makes all of the hard work and the hours that we put in. I think, what was it? These past 2 weekends, I think on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday leading up, I think we put in 48 hours in just those days, just leading up and overnight. So I can't do it without anybody. And we can't do it without the fans as well, right? Like that's what we do. Most times.
You're doing it in San Diego, so you must be living the dream, right? So really appreciate your time, Mike. And again, we'll do a check-in because again, people are interested about this. Like this is San Diegans are weird with stadiums, they're weird with what we're interested in within the stadiums, but you know what? I wouldn't take it any other way. Mike, thank you for your time, man. We're gonna go ahead and get you out of here. Appreciate it.
All right, no problem, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Perfect. All right. With that,
Okay,
we're gonna
now people know.
now.
Now
And
people
I
know.
know. Now I
Yeah.
know. Abe, I'm gonna bring you back here. I mean, we've had this kind of plan in the background because people are asking. That's chitter chatter that's been happening, and
It
I
seems
like
to
that
be
he
the main
hears it.
topic when we get to go to Snapdragon for a wave game, and now seeing the SDSU lines and logos and the way the field looks. Now people get some answers, and
It gets
it makes
context.
sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. You know, it can't be perfect.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, for that time. Once again, this is San Diego Punto Football. In fact, we've literally any aspect of soccer is
Abe,
here.
you were the one
Abe.
talking the most shit about the fields. Like,
Yeah,
what does that
no,
make you
oh
feel
my
now?
God, no.
I've been saying it's fine. Like I don't get the mad about the paint and the colors. Like if you watch enough soccer in America or high school soccer or anything, you're gonna see football lines. And like obviously it's not ideal, but as long as the playing surface is fine, which no player has complained about, then I think it's fine. It's a beautiful stadium, and I want to go to this Escondido farm. Honestly, that sounds
I
crazy.
Get a tour.
Yeah.
What Abe doesn't know, Tony, is that I have a recording of him actually saying, "No, I'm just kidding."
My God, that's actually illegal in the state of
Yeah, no,
California.
I would not
The
do that.
Donald Sterling rule. All right. So on this playing surface, this is where, again, we witnessed probably one of the most deflating losses for San Diego Wave in his 3-year history. And I think just bringing all this context together gives the understanding of really what's at the pulse of soccer in San Diego, of what currently is with San Diego Wave. We'll check in with the Sirens, to call the Sirens here in a bit, just to get their take on all of this, really. But Abe, game ends. It's not looking good at the end of the day. We get Maria Sanchez. We get Melanie Barcenas, who I think you pointed out correctly was her first time being at a press conference at the end. Ask a couple questions. But before, is there anything that I'm missing from the actual game, from the disaster class that Wave had?
No, I mean, after the red card, I think the team did what they could to defend. They ended up conceding a 4th goal. It's a tough loss for sure, especially in a time of the season where you need to start pulling off results. I mean, they tied against Washington, and you're like, okay, that's second place Washington. You know, that's a good thing. And then you go and lose 4-1 to NC Courage. So it's kind of like a blow for the team, for the fans, where Tony, you were very optimistic last week about
I don't know why.
Wave
I don't know.
being able to pull it off.
Characteristic.
This changed everything, right?
It did. I mean, I
So
really
there's no
thought,
chance now.
I really thought, because I think in sports there's this intangible factor of like emotional or just very outside of the game related emotions and feelings really pump a team up and energize it. And I thought that Alex Morgan, coming into this was going to be something different. The tie really felt like a victory. We talk about ties that feel like losses for San Diego Wave all the time. This was a tie that almost felt like a victory. But I mean, it takes 3 scrolls now to get to San Diego Wave with this Zoom inversion of the standings. Yes.
Yeah. So they play Utah next. So that's gonna be an interesting game, right? Because they're right underneath you on the table. You have 16 points, they have 15. This has to be a must win. I am convinced. I mean, not saying that there's any hope or any chance. Mathematically, they're not out, and that's just facts for the team. So losing this team would pretty much make that official. But I mean, again, there's still 7 games left in the regular season. That's 21 points available. Landon said they have to win 5 of those, and it starts with Utah this weekend.
Starts with you, Abe.
I think they have a chance against Utah. The rest of their schedule is not looking great. They might be able to play spoiler at some point, but at this point, 5 out of 7 matches when you've only won 3 matches seems impossible. It would feel wrong to just predict that that's going to happen. And I think no one expected this from the Wave this season. We were talking about championships, like winning the Supporters Shield again at the beginning of the season.
I mean,
it's crazy.
Yeah. Like you were literally the most consistent, the best team in the league, finished first place, and then just goes down the drain. I mean, at this point, if you're Landon Donovan, you say, okay, we're putting all of our focus and emphasis in the CONCACAF Champions Cup.
I think so, because that sort of play style seems to maybe fit best in that tournament setting where nobody's really seen that. They can really play other. I don't. Again, there I go being positive. I don't know. It's a giant question mark.
No, because the thing is, what does going all in that tournament mean? Like, you had your best possible lineup this last weekend, and you still got crushed 4-1. Now, does that mean repeating lineups? Or what is exactly does that mean? I mean, you're facing Portland, who, Abe, you mentioned that Portland's beatable, but then they go and face an America team that didn't have their starters, most of their starters, by the way. They still shocked them 3-1. So there's a Portland team that's also definitely in the running for playoffs, but also trying to make a name in the Champions Cup.
Yeah, I think Wave Portland games always have a little extra juice. I still think the Wave have a chance, and Portland rightfully might be focusing on the NWSL this year. So, and this is the first time the CONCACAF Champions Cup is happening too. So you never know how serious a team like Portland or America are taking this compared to the domestic trophies. So this is all the Wave have. They have to put all their attention to this tournament.
It's going to be interesting just seeing how this end of the season turns out for San Diego Wave. Landon Donovan, the post-match conference, kind of had a moment of like, maybe I got it wrong today, but it would be, we've put a month of work into this new play style and direction that this team is going into. Why would we just kind of toss it out now and just throw that away? But it seemed like a conceit almost of just understanding that, you know what, it is what it is, and we're just going to see what sticks to the wall. And hopefully that means it's positive, but I don't see a world where there's a lot of positives left in the season for San Diego Wave, unless I see differently in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. I don't see any NWSL smiles lasting. I'd love to be proved wrong. I'd love for that. Nothing less than very happy for what the players have gone through, what the front office has put in as well. Because, man, let me tell you, having a Alex Morgan retirement puts a crunch on anybody with 72 hours notice. I think that's what Alex said too. She in their post match, she was like, "Yeah, no, I didn't think I'd be processing having to retire, be pregnant in 72 hours, and play my final match here."
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. Like incredible what she's able to do, and the fact that she played, like
the fact that the people flew in from everywhere to come see her play. There was people there that flew in from Alaska, from North Carolina, from literally all over the freaking nation.
I don't know, heard that people drove at least 4 hours to go into.
I saw a sign of a fan that drove 26 hours. There's also people that crossed the border for at least 5-6 hours to come see this game too. So
they don't have Century. I don't have Century. That would be me. Century. That would be me.
Century.
You might nice. You might get it revoked by the way you pronounce it like a Frenchman. Century.
I got Century.
You know, I'm going to be vulnerable for a second. I can't roll my R's.
And you know what? I appreciate you for being strong enough to have that vulnerability, and that will never be brought up again.
Space.
Absolutely.
No, I do this weird thing where I fake it with my uvula. It's kind of funny. I think I should have stopped. My parents should have stopped me from that. I should have just learned when I was a kid. I don't know if it's a learned thing.
Abe is humble. We love Abe.
No, he said be humble.
Yeah, I do need to be a little more humble. It is a privilege.
Century is hey, let me tell you, I'm waiting for my Century. I input that application a year ago. It's still pending. So one of two things.
I need to schedule the meeting. It's just there's no appointments. I have to go to Arizona for like the next available appointment because mine was easy because it's renewing.
So what are they gonna do when they say, hey, well, you can bring in your car to inspect it?
No, pues puedo cruzar caminando también todavía. Peatonal, perro.
Peatonal. All right.
Perro.
Yeah. Okay. That's a hate crime almost, I feel. Century is a privilege. I'm glad that you have it, Abe.
Hay mentiras en dónde están perros en SeaWorld el domingo también.
Yeah, Cholos
Cholos
were at SeaWorld
You know what?
this weekend.
I think Alex Morgan announcing her retirement took all the smoke that everyone forgot that Cholos were having their event at SeaWorld. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Yeah, and I'll just give a little bit of insight into the SeaWorld event when it was announced, and the arquero Toño, el buen Toño, el tocayo.
JJ Corona también ahí.
So they were like, "Hey, when is this event?" To the press guy, it's like, "Oh, it's this day." It's like, "Vato, es fecha FIFA. It's you know,
It's
we're on vacation, we're on break. So and so and so and so. We already have our tickets set for this day." Like, it's like, "Oh, no me digas, don't tell me." Like, "Oh, I didn't know."
¿Dónde vas a ir? A SeaWorld.
Yeah. But it's interesting seeing just Cholos in Tijuana putting their little flag in San Diego. Usually it's the other way around, but it's a very interesting. I do like the Centre du Toilette. Centre du Toilette. Sounds like a great cologne. Get on that, Abe. I took a photo of a group who was here from Alaska. Yes, the Alaska crew. It was insane. Just the outpouring of everybody. Arriba San Diego. Agreed. Got some good content at the event. Vlog coming soon. Yep,
Yeah.
check that out.
Shout out to David and all the photographers. There were
Yeah.
so many great images of everything that happened, and to do it in that heat, that's amazing.
Just absolute warriors.
I think someone said over 70 photographers were there for this game.
Yes, 70 photographers were there for this matchup. Again, we had a RSVP our seats. I really think that, you know, little pat on the back. Don't forget the other side. Screw the other side. Give yourself another pat on that side. Hug yourself. Because, you know, our representation has been there since year one, and that's kind of paying off in a lot of ways in terms of just, you know, getting to be in certain positions. And I'm just fortunate to do that. So San Diego Wave need to pick it up. Like, at the end of the day, the fans are waiting for something different. The fans are waiting. And honestly, they deserve it, because as time keeps passing, why did you fire Casey Stoney? Why? This would have happened with or without her. Might have been better. Might have been worse. Who knows? Maybe they wouldn't have tied against Washington Spirit. It would have lost 5-0. I don't know. Kalen Sheridan might have accumulated 3 red cards until now. I don't know. I mean, it's a what if. It was interesting to see her say that she was going to watch the game too. So
Yeah, implying that she hasn't watched the games, which that's interesting. But I do see like a lot of these stats saying like, you know, the Wave haven't won since Casey Stoney's been fired. The Wave didn't win for 7 matches when Casey Stoney was here too. I think that's important context. Obviously, I still think it was probably a little too soon to get rid of Casey Stoney. It's insane.
Yeah, you really can't make that judgment call there, because if that's the mentality that you're going by, Landon's performance, if it was a performance-based decision, Landon's performances haven't been all that good. If Stoney was here, Morgan would have never been pregnant. That's a butterfly effect type of.
Zero facts. He put.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
zero
chose
facts.
to omit that. There's a lot of controversies being thrown out in the chat tonight, with zero facts, zero sources, but it's okay. It's a safe space for everybody. All right.
Do you guys have a favorite Alex Morgan memory? This wasn't bad. I just kind of thought about it right now, putting you guys
first one that comes to mind, like genuinely, was her at the Gold Cup trying to fight Colombia. Because as an older veteran player, I just love it when there's an older veteran player that's going to be the one that's obviously their legend status. They're going to get picked on a little bit by the other team. The other team might want to mess with them or fight with them. And she got in their face, did not stand down, kind of helped show that energy to the younger kids and be like, yeah, no, this is how we play. We're the U.S. women's national team. We'll get into a fight with you guys. Like, that's crazy for a veteran player to do. And another thing I love about the women's game is something like that might happen and then they're just flopping in the men's game. It's so boring and it's just like, oh my gosh. But just for them to get in each other's face, Trinity Rodman had to separate them. I thought that was one of the cooler moments of the Gold Cup. And honestly one of the more memorable moments of the time that we've been covering Alex Morgan.
Tony, do you have a favorite Alex Morgan moment?
So in what are we, World Cup this year? That was 2018 before, right? So 2020 was that World Cup. Okay. I'm trying to backtrack. It was 2016. When did the US women's national team beat was it Tahiti like 13-0?
There was 2015 World Cup.
2015, right?
Might have
Okay.
been that.
2015,
So
2019.
in 2015, I listened to a lot of sports talk radio, just AM radio, and it's always just like, male, blah, 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 women's World Cup, like, or just soccer in general, right? It's very hard to get some soccer talk in. And I was an avid listener of this morning program. And so I would just be like, hey, I can be your soccer insider for the World Cup, just being a listener, right? And so I just kind of parlayed that into calling in as an insider, technically. That's changed it on my bio. And I would just talk soccer to a bunch of dudes that didn't know soccer. And just, I was like, okay. And then it came with that match where they kept celebrating the goal that went in, goal 3, goal 4, goal 5. The U.S. women's national team was unrelenting. By the 11th goal, they kept celebrating. And man yelling at Cloud host that morning was like, I hate this. This isn't who we are. This isn't America. Like, what are we doing? Why are we still celebrating the 13th? Like, blah, 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 blah. And I can't tell you how hard I defended Alex Morgan that day, because I'm like, you know what? No, you celebrate that. You scored that in an important moment. You keep going. So just that World Cup performance and just the domination that she helped lead into it, just, I was like, okay, awesome. Like, this is great. And I can't tell you how many times, malamente, and this is because I didn't watch a lot of women's soccer growing up. She was that player that I would look at along with Marta and be like, oh wow, like that's a different level. Like I've never seen such skill, because I haven't been exposed to it and I haven't actively watched it. And I'm surprised. I'm like, oh wow, like this is a level that this person can beat everybody I know and all of my friends alone in 100v1, and we would lose 100-0. Like, that's the level of skill that Alex Morgan possessed. So just that contribution of like really putting global soccer on the women's side on the map, at least for me, I'm eternally grateful for, because now I enjoy it so much because of her, that I can just sit back and be like, wow, this is very awesome. And I love this just sport so much more because of it. So
No, for sure. I mean, fucking Fox Insider. Pato. You use Radio Insider, Soccer Insider for everyone, dude.
yeah.
Also,
Look
some facts to back that up. It was 2019 versus Thailand in Group F of the World Cup. And Alex Morgan scored 5 goals in a 13-0 victory. Wow.
Yeah, no, I mean it's wild. And then we're gonna be having our Call of the Siren segment here in a bit.
because honestly, Tony, I'll just put it on me. Send the wrong link, because it's just that type of that type of day.
Okay.
And
Give Tony
it's-
that's okay.
That's okay. Abe, do you want to stick around?
Sure.
All right. We'll pentabox this. We are going to go ahead, and we are very thankful, because we love having this segment this entire season, where we get to talk to the supporter base, the true diehards of San Diego Wave, who have been with the team and continue to support this team with or without the players, injury list, the results, whoever it may be representing San Diego. They are here cheering for players arriving at Lindbergh Field for everything. It's past for bedtime, but we're going to go ahead and welcome to this segment that I really have come to enjoy, the Call of the Sirens. Sarah, I want to thank you for your patience with us, and sorry for keeping you up past your bedtime. I
No, it's
saw
okay.
9 lips.
I'm 100% ready to go to sleep immediately after this, so I'm going to make it. If I pass out halfway through, that's on you guys.
Yeah, no, I will take responsibility for that, and we'll just keep that little box on the side, make sure you're safe and not falling off, and bumping your head. But welcome to Two Balls and a Mic, Senegal Punto Football. You've been following very closely with the team along with the rest of the Sirens. A tiring last couple of weeks, last couple of just months in general, but could you take us through kind of your experience through this last week in terms of, the announcement of Alex Morgan, 13, the talisman?
Yeah, so I actually went to the Naomi Girma workout on Wednesday night with Siete. So I was riding high, very happy, in a great mood. I wake up Thursday morning and it's like, hey, here's the worst moment of your life. Yeah, it was a weird ride. I've never cried in my adult life, so I've gotten through it pretty okay, but definitely watched a lot of different emotions hit people at different times. Yeah, just kind of the ride of deciding as Sirens, I'm on the art crew trying to come up with the best way to honor a legacy that is beyond impactful in so many ways. How do you properly honor somebody who has pushed the game forward this much in such a short period of time? Saturday, we got together at another Siren's house and painted a banner and started making stencils for posters, and trying to survive the heat that day so we can make it to Sunday to survive the heat again and get through it all. But I think it really hit me the moment when she passed off the captain armband to Kaylin Sheridan. That's when I did get a little choked up. But just watching the impact of people of all ages and how much Alex Morgan's career has touched their lives, inspired them, excited them. And I mean, again, just the beyond impact she's had on this country, on this sport, has been immense.
No, absolutely. And I mean, I do want to not to be kind of like negative Nancy or anything like that, but I mean, when she missed the penalty, what was it like at the curve? I mean, it was just, you could hear the pin drop, right? But
Yeah.
what was it like for you all to just see that?
I truly don't know how I can ever feel about Casey Murphy again in my life.
I would have done the same. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Especially because one of the Sirens I was standing next to, Ruby, she was telling me that the first ever Alex Morgan goal she saw was a PK. She was pretty pumped. She was like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm going to bookend it with PKs. I'm like, let's do it for Rubes. It didn't happen. Casey Murphy did not get the script, didn't know the true plan. But yeah, it was pretty devastating. I think in a lot of ways, it kind of just speaks to the letdown this season has been in a lot of ways. So yeah, it was a sad ending on an otherwise stellar career, but I don't think she has anything to be ashamed of, honestly.
And I mean, you're getting that insight from other fans of like the PK situation that would have been booked. And then did anybody who's not part of the Sirens just kind of, or people in general, did you hear any other stories come together, or just is there any one Alex Morgan memory that for you just stands out, either playing or just in general?
Honestly, I don't know if there's like one moment that really stands out. I think, just her as a wave player, my favorite moments have been her just playing with Charlie and being like a normal person on the field and having fun with her kid, because that's always adorable. She's such a great mom. And I think that's really nice for young girls to see her just like embracing the different roles she has in her life and seeing that being a professional athlete doesn't necessarily mean sacrificing everything you want. I grew up a long time ago when like women's athletes were a lot different and it was seen as like something very bad to have like kids around a whole lot. And her and like other US players, I think, have really pushed that forward. And so that has been, I think, really nice for me to see.
I mean, I can't tell you, like, just exponentially this season, like we all commented from the press box, Abe, Chiva, and I, just as far as just the sirens, and even though this hasn't been the best season, like y'all are there. Y'all are there. I mean, these last 2 weeks have been absolutely brutal in the Cove. Everybody keeping safe. I know I stopped by a couple weeks ago. I'm just like, hey, make sure everybody's hydrated, make sure everybody's having a good time here. But how tough has it been being that sun?
It's been bad. It's been really bad. That Angel City game, if that had been during this heat wave, it would have been much worse. I'm still recovering from the sunburn during that game, but I'm real pale, so that's to be expected. Yeah, these last 2 weeks. Last week, I was literally timing on my phone when the shade hit me, so I knew for this week to be prepared. So I'm just sitting there. I'm like 5:20, 5:20. It's gonna hit us. Trust me, and it did. But yeah, somebody had brought a thermometer in just to check the weather, and it was like 102 at one point. It was just brutally hot. Yeah, everything was just filled with ice, trying to stay as cool as we can. Shout out to Zakia who bought these little like Mr. Fan bottles. Those have been in heavy use, but yeah, it's been a lot. Hopefully it's going to be better for the rest of the season, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely brutal. Abe, if you can hop in. Yeah, okay, just making sure. I know you're the silent one in the back. Just
Yeah,
perched up.
if I do have a question, I think I'd want to ask, like, we haven't seen the bubbles a lot this season. Are
Yeah.
we gonna, like, is that still happening? Does that help with the water? Have you thought about just turning them on while it's hot? Just like, you know what, we need a little.
They're more sticky than refreshing. So not a whole lot for the heat. But they're still there. They're still ready to go. We're ready at a moment's notice to get them bubbles to jump in, but yeah, there hasn't been as much cause for celebration as we would like, but with the power of friendship, we're going to get through it.
I love that. That's the power of friendship. A big power player in Yu-Gi-Oh, one of my favorite shows back in the day. But I mean, you want to see some bubbles, Abe? Here, feature some bubbles right there. With Alex Morgan in her final wraparound. Any additional just kind of thoughts that she might have had in private? I know there was a video recording, just her thanking the Cove, the Sirens, for everything that they've done. Just in these 3 seasons, and it's been incredible. Is that message from her to you?
Yeah, I think a bit of feedback. Yeah, I think it's for all of us. Everyone who's put a lot of, blood, sweat, and tears into this, a lot of sweat these last couple weeks, especially. But yeah, it's just been something really special that we've done, and to be acknowledged by a player like Alex Morgan. We're already making the reserved for Alex Morgan sign for a drum that's going to be just for her when she needs it. There's been talk of a Charlie bubble gun devoted for just her use.
That, I mean, I would be very okay with that.
Yeah.
This is something that, first of all, Alex needs to be in the Cove in the section. It does sound like that is in her plans.
Yeah. She's welcome anytime. Anytime. We will clear out space for her. Dan wasn't paying attention while Dan was on the drum. Shout out to Big Dan. Yeah, she's an icon, as I've said, I think maybe 20 times already, but having her in the Cove would just be an extra special treat for us. We have had former players come and join us before at different times. Carly Telford's come this season and said hi. We got some hugs and some high fives. That was really fun. Lauren Brisky was at the Torero game with us briefly. So, we greatly enjoy the former Wave family that still come and hold us in their hearts.
No, it's absolutely great. Everything comes together, and it's definitely a family aspect that isn't all that familiar in soccer in general. So the fact that the Sirens keep it up is incredible. What keeps it going this season? I mean, that's
I mean, it literally is the power of friendship. That's really what it is. We've really gotten close the last couple years, and new people who come in get folded in really quickly and just absorbed into the unit. So it really just has been the vibe of we're here, we're friends, we're having fun together, and that in and of itself is important. So even though we're supporting a team that's maybe not doing so well right now, it's still a good time in the Cove. We're still enjoying what we're doing, and there's nothing that's really slowing us down.
That's awesome. There's still time left, right? There's still a chance for this season to turn around in a way, and I think that support is very, very much felt by the players. Just hearing them discuss it post match, and just in general that adoration for your adoration of them and the representation of the city is felt very much. So that's awesome on there. Do we retire 13 from now? Can you retire 13?
I mean, yes and no.
It's hard in soccer.
Yeah.
I mean, who else can take it over and really wear it at this point? But I'm open to some young gun trying. Melanie Barcenas wants to rock that 13. I'm okay with it. I think that's decisions for people who make a lot more money than I do. But, you know, I think that number is so intrinsically tied. The delusion keeps you coming back. That's Tanya. That's my bestie. But yeah, you know, she is a legend. She is amazing. And yeah, it's going to be weird if another player does wear it to watch them out on that field.
Honestly, I would vote for Maria Sanchez to wear it next. I mean, she's probably one of the highest paid players on this team right now. She's idolized Alex Morgan. That seems like a good little passing of the torch to me.
Yeah, she wants to
like that
slip
too.
into it. I think she's been normally number 7, though. Tanya will correct me if I'm wrong. She's the Maria Sanchez stan.
Yeah,
She's got a boot. She's got a signed boot. She brings it to watch parties sometimes. It's great. I'm calling out Tanya on this.
That's just throwing the fandom down there. I think, you know what? I'll ask her if Maria is down to do a private concert for Tanya, seeing as Maria Sanchez is an excellent guitarrista, not just guitar, but requinto, the 12-string.
Yeah.
So she is fantastic on it too. Sarah, we won't take too much of your time before you get some rest and catch some Z's. Anything specific to plug in or just find you or find the Siren?
I mean, I'm on Twitter. You don't want to follow me. I'm very boring. Tanya and I, if you enjoy the banter, we do host our own Sirens podcast. It's kind of a collective history we're putting together of our group. Because we've both been there. I've been a day 1. Tanya's a day 2, basically. So if you're interested, it's just called Siren Song Podcast. It's only on Spotify because we cannot figure out any other platform. It will not let us. But yeah, that's what we're doing. Otherwise, come into the Cove and hang out. We'd love to have you there and show you what the power of friendship can do for you.
I love that. And I love the positivity just in general, because that is what keeps people coming down and rocking Snapdragon day in and day out. Sarah, thank you for staying up and enjoying it. Go ahead and check out their podcast. It's I've checked it out. It's fun. And Tanya, no, legitimately, like is a very, very, very devoted Maria Sanchez fan.
Oh, for sure.
She really is.
It's great to see.
She doesn't have a tattoo yet. That's the next thing I'm pressuring her into.
Friday the 13th.
Follow the podcast if
Friday
you want.
the 13th is interesting. Free tattoos there. All right, Sarah, thank you for coming on. Thank you everybody for joining us here. This has been the Call of the Sirens. Have a good night, Sarah. Thank you. you thought we're out of guests. No, we're not. We're still waiting on the SDFC portion of our show where we'll talk with the Union president, John Cross, who, has important announcements because there is new structure to the way that SDFC would like to be supported. As simple as that.
Yeah, I mean,
but Abe, just recapture that moment of Sirens magic.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about retiring numbers in soccer. I honestly, I don't like it. I like it when they have to pass the torch or pass the mantle. Like, this number has meaning now. That's Alex Morgan's number. If you wear number 13, you're wearing Alex Morgan's number. You have to live up to that legacy. Obviously, it's humongous shoes to fill. I don't think anyone will ever fill those shoes, but I like it when there's a number that has to be passed on.
Let me just go back here and answer this. As a journalist, did you guys get a chance to take a picture with Alex Morgan? Maybe not the last game. Other players? No.
Nope.
And that's just no throughout. That's one of the main cardinal rules to not break is ask for photos, ask for autographs, ask for just pretty much anything outside of that realm. Players can approach, and that's kind of something that you do learn in being in training sometimes, is that they recognize, like, oh, you're the one person that's at training. Like, hey, how's it going? I know, Abe, you've gone the benefit of the doubt of, like, kind of getting that recognition because you are one of those only people that are covering San Diego Wave on an active basis. But in terms of, like, hey, can I get a picture on here? Like, that's not typically how it goes down. There was controversy in the press box with Ruud van Nistelrooy kind of segment that we discussed back a couple of weeks ago. But no, because, again, I'm not going to risk getting any credential taken away in pursuit for the biggest credential, which is the 2026 World Cup for FIFA. And hopefully, señor FIFA, nos deje entrar. Please let us in. We will be ever so thankful to do that. But no, we cannot do that. Just like we can join in on the wave. I do sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, I do, and it's one of the no. Abe, look, like, you're giving me that look, like, oh, how dare you? No, if this is me and it's happening, it's just, and just no sell it after. Just it's almost involuntary for me to do, but it's not in a celebratory manner. I'm not supporting. I'm not giving any juju to anything in particular. I'm impartial, but that's just the motion in the ocean.
It also depends on what the vibe is of the game, right? If Wave's winning and everyone's having a good time, then it's kind of like okay, cool. Like, everything's going pretty good so far. But when they're losing 4-1, it's hard.
Yeah. I think it's the only place where it's acceptable to have a wave at Wave games. Yes, Abe.
I'm too busy working to do the wave. Okay,
You work, man.
I'm just kidding.
The
wave in all of professional sports. I think the wave is in Snapdragon. It's okay, but I'm pretty against the wave everywhere else.
Oh, so you're anti-fun, Abe? Got it. You're anti-crowd. Okay.
Dude brought the bubble question just for funsies now.
Very interesting for you to be anti-crowd as we have the president of the sport.
What? No, okay. I like it at football games. I like it other places. Just baseball. Whenever I'm at a baseball game and there's a wave, I get a little like, okay.
I'll give you baseball games. It makes no sense at baseball games. Absolutely not. Especially with the way that baseball stadiums are designed. Like, you have half of them that are open and just no. Like, how are you going to pass it from left field to right field? Sometimes, like,
yeah, the center field always looks weird too.
Yeah, like the row of 3 people is carrying the entire way for the whole stadium. No, come on, give me a break.
Exactly.
This is not the wave talk that we are accustomed to here on Two Balls and a Mic, San Diego Football. But all right, Abe, we'll give you a break if you're okay with that. As you give us the little wave there.
It's like, yeah, I have to go to the bathroom. Bye.
I know, bye. Abe has come and gone. He will be back, hopefully.
He did have to go to the bathroom. He got up to leave.
It happens here in the behind the scenes, but all right. Let's change gears. Again, if you have any more Alex Morgan comments, questions, concerns, or any type of stories, you can go ahead and leave them in the chat. We'll get into that because there is goals, gaps, and greats where Alex Morgan is featured once again. Did I ask her in the post match, hey, Alex, how does it feel to be part of goals, gaps, and greats? And I did not. a la Joe Corona. All right, so we're going to go ahead and switch gears over into our San Diego FC segment. With San Diego FC, obviously there was some news that dropped with Duran Fari's contract on loan with Orange County SC being rescinded. Therefore, Duran Fari is currently back at a listed San Diego FC as a San Diego FC player for the time being. For right now, there are developments that will be happening throughout the next couple of weeks, because I would hope that they would want him to not just be sitting on his hands.
I mean, he was doing that in Orange County. Anyway,
he was doing that in Orange County anyways.
You got to get loaned out somewhere.
Which actually, if you are going to this weekend's Orange County game, which is is this the 14th?
It is the 14th.
The 14th.
Yep.
Coque Vegas is coming back with Rhode Island to play against Orange County. So it's going to be some familiar faces. A lot of San Diego loyal fans are heading up there. I'll be up there with everybody. They asked me, actually, the press guy was like, hey, do you want some good seats, or you want to sit with San Diego loyal people? I'm like, the San Diego loyal fan base are the good seats, so I'll stick with them. So yeah, I'll be there. But with that, we're gonna jump into our SDFC segment. With that, we're going to bring on the president of the supporter union for SDFC. This is a conglomerate, a amalgam of supporter groups that are officially recognized through SDFC. We're going to go ahead and bring him on. You know him from the Hell is Chrome podcast every Tuesday at 8:15 on YouTube, on their YouTube, with co-host Andrew. He is the producer as well of that show, the SDISU org, San Diego Independent Supporter Group Union President, Mr. John Cross. John, welcome on to the show. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, guys.
No, absolutely. It's great to have you on. I think the last time you were kind of with us together was pre-pandemic, when you were in the garage filming.
That's right.
300 pounds more of two balls and a mic.
That was an almost 400-pound Chiba.
That was almost there.
Yeah, almost there.
But you've been involved with soccer in San Diego for a while, John, and I mean, it's taken you onto a great journey. You've been documenting things as well, and now president of the union that is the official union of the supporter groups for SDFC. So how did this come about for you?
Gosh, that's a long story. It wasn't intentional. I guess I'll say that initially. I had every intention. You alluded to me being in the garage and filming you guys, which is still an episode I'd like to do for my soccer shorts once I have the time to get back to soccer shorts, do a follow-up. And I had every intention of starting the soccer shorts back up again January, of this year. With the change that was happening in the locals, I stayed involved with that, trying to figure out where the locals were going to pivot to. From there, I became one of the reps that was sitting in the meetings at SDFC at the headquarters when they were pulling in all the various supporter groups to try to get people together to help build this, what has now become this union that we've created. And over time, I just kept getting a little more involved, and eventually decided that I was interested in being president. So I was probably back in June, and we have spent, the last couple months trying to get things in order. We finally incorporated a few weeks back. We've got memberships open. We're really starting to hit the ground running now with the union after having some, setbacks that I think a lot of people in the community are aware of over the summer with the original name. But it's really been the culmination of 9 months of work by the 7 primary SGs that have been involved in creating all this. I might be the president, but there has been a tremendous amount of work from everyone from 18th Battalion, Barra 18, Chavos, Dago Boys, the locals, Riptides, and USG 18. So there's been a lot of work behind the scenes.
So let me just kind of ask now, right? Like you alluded there to the name. So SDISU, the acronym that's being used right now, is that just the official way that it's going to be called? Is there going to be a nickname attached to that? Is there further groundwork to do with that, or is this just kind of getting everything off the ground? We need to move fast because February is coming quick.
I would say the last two things are probably the most accurate. We need to move fast. Certainly, there were some things. So that is our legal business name that we've incorporated. We are still having conversations about, as you phrased, a nickname or a new brand and identity of how we also want to be identified. We intentionally picked a name in terms of hitting the ground fast that was not terribly exciting. It was very descriptive, and it was there also to give us the space to do something more creative, whether it's the name of the supporter section or something else. It gives us that space to do it, but also allowed us to start doing our paperwork and moving forward and get to the point where hopefully in a few weeks we'll be doing our presentation for the club for official recognition. And then I hope once we hit October, we can really start focusing on prepping for match day.
So obviously this adds an extra layer to the way people can support this team. And could you just kind of expand on this union aspect, right? So let's say under this umbrella union, there's several supporter groups that are already established. You have 8/18, you have the Dago Boys, the Locals, the Chavo Frontera Ultra, Riptides, 18th Battalion, USG
1-8.
1-8. I said
Yeah.
I'm missing one of them. But either way, like, do I have to join one of those in order to join the union? If I join the union, do I have to represent one of those specific groups, or what is there a specific breakdown with that?
Yeah, what you'll do is, I mean, you'll technically join the union. Everybody joins the union that wants to be part of, especially that supporter section. So you join the union, and under that union umbrella, you can identify as a supporter from one of our existing independent supporter groups. Or you can choose to remain unaffiliated. But that also gives us the pathway for some new groups. I'm in talks right now with, see if I get it right, SD Tribe, I believe is the name. And that's another group that is looking to come in to the union structure, and we're looking at how to bring those people in as well. But there will be avenues for people who, if they join unaffiliated to one of the existing 7 that are identified right now, that there's a way for people to form their own supporter groups and their own identity under that umbrella.
So does that mean, I'm sorry, Chiv, I know
No,
you
go
had
ahead.
a question, but does that mean that if there's somebody who wants to join a supporter group, do they specifically get to just be hands off? I'm with the union, or if they want to start a new supporter group, is it something that needs to be recognized by the union itself, or does it have to go through San Diego FC to be recognized as an official group to be part of the union?
Well, the union is what's going to be officially recognized by SDFC, and then under that umbrella, the union will recognize and identify those individual SGs. So if a new group wants to form, it would then come under the union.
Got it. So if there's somebody who wanted to start, they would need to reach out to you or somebody within union leadership in order to get those talks going.
Right, but I mean, the simplest thing is just sign up for a membership right now and just don't affiliate with one of the existing SGs. And those conversations can happen at any time. It doesn't need to happen outside of the union first and then come in. Anybody can sign up for a union membership. And then we, again, like you said, talk with the leaders. We'll work with those people on a pathway to become a recognized SG within the union structure.
And so, yes, go for it, Chivo.
No, John, I'm just curious. How do you handle, right, 7 different supporter groups working together? What are the chants going to be? Mainly in Spanish, English, a mix of both? Like, what is it like? I mean, working with everyone right now.
Well, as you can imagine, it presents a lot of challenges, but it also presents tremendous opportunity, because you guys are familiar already with a lot of the supporter groups out there. I don't know how many of your listeners are familiar with all of them, but everybody brings something unique to the table. So we are able to leverage the different skills that different groups have to make us stronger as a union, as being in that supporter section of 3,004 seats, standing together shoulder to shoulder with a single voice on match days, because we have groups that are good and people within those groups that are good at organizing. We have people who are good at creating chants and songs and helping to build the culture. And again, that's what we're doing right now, is working on the best ways that we can leverage that to make the most amazing San Diego match day experience that we can in that section.
So what's the first step if I'm somebody who wants to join the union as of now?
Go to our website and you can sign up. And let me see, I have the link here. I have the ability to put this in the chat, right?
Yeah, you do. Let's throw that in there. Beautiful. Also, a StreamYard savant, Mr. John Cross. Check out his podcast, Hell's Chrome, with Andy D. Good old Senor Andres. Throwing it.
All right, sorry, I didn't set it up here.
No, you're good. And so there's already social media handles out there, as we were showing. It's SDISUORG, the San Diego Independent Supporters Union organization on Instagram. So that's the official supporter union for SDFC, starting up in 2025, which is honestly just a couple of months away. And I think that urgency is really kind of picking up for everybody in a lot of different ways. Do you feel that heat?
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to post that and it said it failed. So I'm actually going to try to send you a text with the link so that you can put it up there.
Perfect. Drop this sucker.
And unfortunately, while I was trying to do that, I didn't really listen to your question, so you have to ask me again.
La neta se me olvidó, vato. But all right, let's just jump here to the important right there. Boom, that's the website where you can go ahead and do what exactly, Mr. Cross?
Click where it says membership in the upper right on the main bar up there in black. And then you click the join button.
Perfect.
Are we signing you up right now?
Are we? I mean, do I have to? Because honestly, I risk putting my throwaway email account be auto-populated somewhere here. But essentially, right here is the rates for this membership for the year, correct? So this then renews next year or halfway through the year?
Right. So this, I mean, again, starting from scratch always presents some unique challenges that you then need to, you won't have down the road. So part of the conversation with our board was to set the initial rate at $30 for adults and $10 for children. But that was to cover 2024 all the way through the end of 2025. Now, for accounting reasons and tax reasons and all kinds of stuff that we don't need to go into on the podcast, we decided to make it easier to split it up to half that, basically. So it's $15 for 2024 for adults and $5 for children, and then it will renew in 2025 at that same rate. So we just split that $30 for adults and $10 for kids across the 2 years.
Perfect. And all the information is going to be here on the website. We can go ahead and have this on the description for the videos, but also just make sure that you also check out any of the social media posts of the union, because it's go time, right? I think I've been critical and just hopeful to just say that I hope that section is filled, jam-packed with San Diegans who are ready to welcome in a very spirited way any away supporters, especially Los Angeles fans, who come into San Diego and want to show up the city once again, as they do for other sports. I mean, historically, right? Does that worry you at all, John? Where's that?
No, actually it doesn't at all. I have complete confidence that we're going to be able to fill the section, that we're going to exceed the amount, and we will bring it on match days. That doesn't concern me one bit. And we are now, like I said, we've only had memberships officially open for about a week. We're about 200 people. So we haven't made a big public push yet for memberships. I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't know that the memberships are actually open and available and people can sign up, but you can. And being a member of the union is the only way to get tickets in the section. So season tickets should be going on sale later this fall. And if you want, that member perk of getting a season ticket in the supporter section at, likely, it will be at some kind of discounted rate. This is where you want to be. And we're looking for people who want to help build that culture, who like to stand for 90 minutes and sing and drum and do all the things you do in a passionate supporter section. So we are looking for that. And I know San Diego has no shortage of those people.
Yeah, no, exactly. We need to remind people that the sport and the support has been here before any professional team. This is why they chose to come to San Diego. John, is there anything else? I'll throw up the place where you can find all the information, the official podcast for the supporter union. ¿Dónde está? I have it right there. The Hellas Chrome podcast, John. Is there anything that's coming up for the work that's being built right now, immediately, as of now, for February?
Well, I'll say I thank you for the plug for the Hellas Chrome. I would call that the unofficial podcast because we don't have anything. We don't have anything done officially through the union right now. That may come over time. But this is, besides signing people up who are passionate about the sport that we all love and want to be in that section, we're also looking for people who want to help build the culture and help us hit the ground running. So we have a lot of key people right now already helping on our committees, but we can always use help. So anybody who's out there that wants to be a part of this on the ground floor, we already have a special event lined up for members that's coming up very soon that's exclusive to members. So these are some of the other perks you'll get as part of your union membership, is special exclusive things that are not available to the public and sometimes not even available to season ticket members. They'll be purely union member exclusive events.
And that's always part of the perks that you get.
That's why you join.
Yeah, as being a supporter, if anything else, is those perks, because it really builds that community aspect. And at the same time, look, the players are going to be transient, but at the end of the day, the San Diegan supporters are the ones that are here, living the reality of things. Everybody else is coming to the city, and you know what? They want to go ahead and put the product of a team here. Great, but just be respectful of what was here. And that's what I at least hope that the supporter groups keep in mind at all times, is that, look, this is San Diego. This is how we do things here as SoCal natives de la región, in this region. You brushing up on your Spanish, John, just in case those chants are...
Well, there will be. You did ask, I think Chiva asked the question about the chants stuff, and there will be a mix. There will be some Spanish-only chants. There will be some Spanglish chants. There'll be some English chants. There's going to be a mix of everything. It will be a uniquely San Diego experience.
I love that. That's fantastic.
Can't wait to hear it.
John, where can we go ahead and find you? Find anything else that we need as far as information for the supporter union, and anybody who wants to join?
I think the best place to go is membership at sdisu.org. If you have any questions about membership or how to join, or the websites that you put up there in terms of signing up for memberships. But if you have any questions, that's probably the best thing. Membership at sdisu.org.
Perfect. We'll put that on the description for that. But John, thank you for coming on. I know it's late in the night, but
it's past my bedtime.
That's two bedtimes that we've ruined today.
I know. Maybe we gotta go earlier now.
Yeah, maybe we'll think about that. But John, thank you for sticking with us here on a Monday. We will check everything out on Tuesday on the Hellas Chrome podcast. Check it out. Check out the socials, and we'll check in with you. Thank you, President.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. John Cross, Presidente.
That gives a lot of clarity on what the union is and the difference.
It gives some clarity. I wouldn't say just there's just like the beginning stages of clarity, because this is them moving through.
To be honest, I mean, I I had no idea what the fuck is going on with this.
You really don't. You've been in a
and
lot.
I personally love it
Mhm.
because I mean, it's ever since I've had a conversation with an SDFC staff about where are you standing? Are you want to be seen as a supporter or as media?
Mhm.
It hit home, and I was like, I'm staying away from anything that has to do with supporters officially.
Like you're running away.
Yeah, so I mean, I've definitely toot myself out of all that. I mean, I will judge it based on what I see on game day.
I think at the end of the day, it's inseparable. My San Diego-ness is inseparable from who I am.
Mhm.
Does that mean I'm gonna act in an unprofessional manner in terms of what these things are? Probably not. Because again, I have a respect to the sanctity of Abraham and what he thinks the morals are for journalistic integrity, because I do listen to what he says and I do listen to what people tell me, and
Listen to a 22-year-old.
very wise,
Very wise
22,
22-year-old.
very wise. Well, you know what? I may think he's like just some sort of. Okay, I'll just leave that for later. I know he's watching him now. He's like,
Yeah,
where is he
he's
going
laughing.
with that?
He's giggling a little bit. He wants to throw himself back in.
You're throwing yourself back
and we're
in.
gonna throw it back.
You're
in
throwing
for
back in. I'm just
Avon.
saying, elf years are actually different than human years. So
A la ver, pinche bolas.
I am not the
Un duende?
main
Thank you.
journalism keeper in this
You
in
sure
this
are.
city. If it's anyone, it's Johnny. I think Johnny's our guy in the press box everywhere that knows all.
that is a spirit of soccer journalism in San Diego. He may not be there. He might be building an orphan in Mexico, a brand new house with his bare hands against that orphan's will. But you know what? He is soccer in sports
You
in
give
San
the
Diego.
best backhanded compliments in the whole wide world.
Just somebody being so
Vales verga,
kind-hearted,
vales verga, vato.
somebody being so absolutely kind-hearted that they would travel to a third world country to build in a forceful manner. What are you looking at?
Nada, güey.
Look, okay, Abe. We're in a garage. There might be a rat.
There's a rat in the garage.
This
It's a
is
spy.
yes. Hey, look, it happens.
It's SDFC keeping an eye on us.
No, I think
The rats you got to be careful with rodents during heat. Like they always try and find their way inside. There was a bird that was trying to get inside my girlfriend's house the other day. You got to be careful.
that's not a rodent.
This guy,
Look for
technically.
birds.
I mean,
Ya no está ahí. Está bien.
Okay, cool. 3252, but yes, it's a collective of supporter groups is essentially what it is. Sorry,
Yeah.
Abe, you were saying.
it's a rodent of the sky. Like you got to be careful with birds. Birds are cute and all. I love birds. I have had bird feeders in my backyard, but they carry a lot of diseases and bad things around. But they're also very important for our biodiversity. So
They really are if they were, real. Which they're not. Government plants them. There's more evidence supporting that than not. So it's 2024. Get with it, bro. No,
I think there are better ways to spy on us than birds.
I'm sorry. I genuinely feel bad that we kept people up past their bedtimes. I feel a little bad.
I don't, because look, our bedtimes is non-existent on Mondays. That Sunday to Monday transition has been relatively brutal for the last couple of weeks, if I'm being completely honest. But you know what? Again, pat yourself on the back. Forget the other side. Pat yourself on that same side. You've been putting in work, Abe. Tú quién sabe. Me
Tú me la pelas.
menos. But all right.
Chato, Lakeside changed you, man.
Lakeside changed me. I mean, the last time you saw a baby pigeon. Thank you, Brandon. Like yes,
They're in a nest. I've seen a nest of birds. There's been nests of birds in my backyard before. I don't know about pigeons, but birds, like.
No, they're very specific because again, the rodents of the sky are pigeons, legitimately. So, I don't know when the last time I saw a baby pigeon was. They're making commercials out of them with the NFL. They made a Coach Prime pigeon that for DirecTV. DirecTV, the main sponsor for SDFC's first kit, and I just brought that all together. Miss you, Miguel. Stay strong, canijo. You and your family. You need to go ahead and be taken care of. trying to, yes, the big bird is trying to silence us here at Two Balls in the Mic, San Diego Punto Football. All right. Just to touch on a couple things. SDFC, right? We already mentioned Alex Mighton last week is the new attacker for SDFC, loaned out to FC Norseland. There's going to be movement in terms of that squad and the loanees from SDFC potentially in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. Mikey Varas, the potential rumored head coach for SDFC, took control of the U.S. men's national team in time for Pochettino to just come and swoop them off their feet in a couple weeks. But that's going to be coming on down. Not a good start, not the best start for Mikey Varas, according to just pretty much generally everybody who is anticipating and following him. I know we were asked to start a Wikipedia for him because he doesn't even have a Wikipedia. Sure. I'm not going to be
He'll
responsible
have
for
one
starting
soon
that.
if he does become announced. For
I
sure.
want
He'll
one,
have one
now. I want one before he does.
You
Please.
don't have one?
No. And that would be a total move that I would do. I would totally start a Wikipedia for myself.
You would totally do that.
100%.
Gentlemen, we do have goals, gaffes, and greats to wrap up the show.
Do we really?
Goals, gaffes, and greats brought to you by
what? Two Balls and a Mic is brought to you in part by State Farm. Have you been into a horrible house fire and with all survivors? Make sure you have State Farm because you are in good hands, which is Allstate.
And viewers like you.
Thank you. TBS.
my goal for not the actual goal, but like my goal for goals, gaffes, and greats is that we eventually start putting like a thing on social media and people vote for what wins.
I'm down. Because again, and I saw
we've been
this.
trying to figure it out for a while. Like,
And
all
I-
right, like, should we just say one each or anything? But I think we let the people kind of like just decide it.
Kick a ball pod, because again, I scrolled up because they've been sending some goals from USD, some local
have,
San Diego
yeah.
soccer college goals and stuff that are actually really, really good. But again, we don't need to filtrate this system a little bit. But soccer in the college realm in San Diego has been incredibly well done in the last couple of weeks this season. So shout out there. One fun fact that I told Abe and you guys before we get going: San Diego Wave this weekend scored more points than San Diego State at Snapdragon Stadium. Just food for thought with one goal. But all right, so goals, gaffes, and greats. The first one, Chiba, you decided, or you have lined up. Is this name?
I didn't decide.
You didn't decide.
I didn't.
You didn't decide. You're not the decider. Okay, I
I'm
thought
not a
I thought you were gonna take some charge here.
These are not the goals.
These are not the goals, because
They're in
one
the
is
private
labeled
chat,
goal.
I believe.
And it's I know, Abe, and you labeled it goal, so it's tonto proof. But here I am, just absolutely butchering the links here. So the goal that was selected for this week is the final contribution to the contribution. Assistant to the assistant
Pass
regional
to the
manager.
assist.
Goal by Kennedy Wesley, a header. The one goal that was scored by San Diego Wave for themselves this last weekend.
Day after day to become better. Header in! San Diego
This
equalizes!
goal just gave life to Wave at the moment. It was right before Alex Morgan got subbed off. I think it was definitely worthy of getting the goal of the week just for the impact that it had at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Just to end up not really meaning anything at the end of the game. But
Just keep a look on yellow shirt in the second row, like the passion that this ignited in the stadium. Just look at this raw emotion right there.
yeah, no, I know who you're talking about.
I love that.
Vamos.
Umas.
What? Seu.
A great header there, great delivery. I mean, not even a aired hand placement.
Esteban, I know there's probably golazos that happen with UCSD and just in general.
This is why we're goading you into sending them.
But it's goals, gaffes, and greats. It's not just about the bangers. It's about the significance. And This week was a very Wave week and very special for San Diego Wave. Esteban, I mean, just gotta say that, point that out.
I mean, if you want bangers, just go check out Exquisite Football. Him and Brandon score incredible bangers on each other. So
And trick shots.
So shout out to them.
Dude, perfect
send them in.
San Diego.
Send them in.
Manden sus golazos, compa. Anyways, for our gaff of the week, there were a couple in the same match.
They were a couple in the same match, and I think if you've been paying attention to anything happening with that match, the whole match itself was a gaff. But starting with the first gaff, which ends up costing Kaylin Sheridan a now traditional red card. One red card per season, at least for Kaylin Sheridan in her San Diego Wave career, via
Just
VAR.
Sheridan, that Sheridan is not the last player, but that's what it's looking at.
And yeah, definitely a red card.
So it's a red
I think it takes like a minute in this video for it to show up. But
I do like watching technique of referees and their cartages. But just running over.
Here it is, the touch from St. George. She gets
There's just miscommunication all around, and I mean, it has to come from Sheridan. You're wearing the captain's armband. You're the one facing forward. You're the goalkeeper. You gotta yell at your defenders. I don't care if it's Naomi Gierman. She's the best defender in the world. This is definitely on Kaylin Sheridan.
Yeah, because St. George gets that touch right there. Like, that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be allowed. There's two of you, one of her. I guess the right choice is to commit the foul at the end of the day. Like, it's the right choice because you sacrifice yourself. That didn't lead to a penalty situation.
Moment,
to lead
I don't
to a
think there's
goal.
anything she could have avoided. Like, she went for the kick and the NC Courage forward beat her to it, and she ended up having to tackle her, like, just with the momentum that she was going with. So it is what it is, but it is a gaff.
Yeah, and it's crazy. They're teammates on the Canada national team.
Yeah.
Like, what's that conversation like next camp? Just, hey, you almost killed me. It's crazy.
I see it more as a you're slow, I beat you to it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because again, the goalkeeper should be coming out,
thanks for the
especially
red card.
especially with the heat map that Kaylin Sheridan's been having this last couple weeks. Like, you should already been there.
Vegas.
Kaylin Vegas. Shout out to Kaylin Vegas. So that was the gaff of the week, part 1, V1, Matt Hardy version 1, Matt Hardy version 2, gaff version 2. I saw that eyebrow. I saw that the Rock eyebrow. It was early in the game, but I think it's more. It just felt like a bigger, just ouch.
Morgan, saved by Murphy.
Quoting someone said a very poor penalty taken. I'll you know who I'm quoting?
Me?
Very own. Hey, Cepeda.
I called it. I think I might have called it weak. I didn't. That's not quoting. You can say paraphrasing.
A ver.
Yeah, watch.
Go read the
Paraphrasing. This is very weak. But with that, this was a stop. Ultimately, could have been Alex Morgan's final goal, final way to be sent off. Hands raised and maybe actually come off on the 13th minute, like they wanted to. But ultimately, that's not what happened here. But at the end of the day, Alex Morgan is the great of the week just because of everything that she has done contribution wise on the field for the game for San Diego. So just really quickly before we get out of here, just want to thank Alex Morgan for her contribution for us here to this state. Alex Morgan is top 3 videos on Two Balls and a Mic, San Diego Football. If you go to most popular videos, the first 3 videos are Alex Morgan, her 4-goal performance, the crest reveal, and then what was the last one? There was one more. It's one of her other great performances as a San Diego Wave player, but she has helped us tremendously by just existing in San Diego. So at the end of the day, just thank you for everything that she meant for not only the sport but for San Diego and for changing the face of how this is just treated ultimately and inspiring so many. Abe?
Yeah, just legend of the game. If you just go to her Wikipedia page, you guys were talking about Wikipedia earlier. It's insane how long these like championships and awards and things she's done, and her impact off the field will always be remembered, I think, by everyone in U.S. soccer. It's unreal.
It is absolutely unreal. But with that, we're going to leave everybody for the night. Thank you, everybody. 9.9 million followers. Let's get some of those followers under Two Balls and a Mic. Follow sandiego.football on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, everything. Thank you to Senor Mike. Thank you for John Cross. Thank you for Sarah. It's been San Diego